Hey, what's up guys, Guardian here, coming guys with a video today going over a discussion that came to my mind recently that I've been kind of wanting to talk about now for the past month or so, but I kind of felt like doing it now. So basically we're going to be talking about the Keter pile, the selection of cards in Keter Sanctuary that are just super generic and work really well together. So of course, for those of you who have been living under a rock, these cards are a mixture of cards that came out over the past couple of years, and it came to fruition when Reziel came to the forefront with Divines, because people were experimenting with Reziel and how to build it. And we got Saragon, the grade 1 that allows you to retire itself. Of course, it gets an extra 5k, so it's a 13k booster. But when you retire it at the end of the battle that it boosts, you look at the top two, add a card to your hand, and then put the other one to the bottom. So this, of course, works really well with Reziel because you essentially resurrect it every turn. And you get the chance to use it not once, but twice even, because you could do it with the Vanguard swing, and then you could attack with Reziel, resurrect the Saragon, and then do it again. So yeah. So the only stipulation the card had was that you needed to have more rear guards than the opponent, or you have to open an order that turn. So of course, being Keter Sanctuary, it's pretty easy to do, of course, because we just call stuff usually in Keter. But we did have access to an order from, it was the original overdress DBT 08, I think. Is it 8? It was the one that Minerva came out in, so I think that was 8. But yeah, Wisdom of Beginning. That cleared the world. I never pronounced that last bit, but yeah, Wisdom of Beginning. It's a CB1. It's a grade 2 order, so you can use it on turn 2 onwards. You draw 2 cards. Good start. You choose 2 cards from your hand. You call each of them with grade less than or equal to your Vanguard to rear, and you discard if not. So essentially, you call stuff that has equal or lower grade to your van, and if they don't have that, you have to discard them. So you're always incentivized to call something lower grade. So because you're doing this on turn 2, obviously, grade 2s and less, basically. Now, of course, this already works with Saragon, because it's an order, so that enables Saragon to be used, regardless if you've got more rears or not, since you played an order card. But then we also have Tearfall, which came out in DBT 11, which I think that was the same set Ezel came out in, if I remember. And that is how I got my playset of this card at the time, was because I was playing Ezel, and Ezel really wanted to play this unit. But then Reziel also wanted to play this unit, as it discovered when it came out. And yeah, Tearfall and Saragon, these 2 cards are really expensive now. I mean, Saragon was already going to be expensive, but, Wisdom of Beginning, not so much. It was just a rare. I think it was teetering on the edge of, like, €5 maybe at one point, but I think it's had, like, a reprint recently as, like, a common promo card in a, pack or something. So I don't think those are too bad now, but, yeah, to your fault, this came out a long time ago. Like I said, it's before Divines, and it was DBT 11, so yeah. This is a triple rare as well, so it means it was a high rarity card and harder to get. So stock is going to be less and less so. Maybe less so than Saragon, but I don't know. Saragon was also bad because he was a box topper for Divine set 1, which was pretty bad to obtain. So yeah, both these units, difficult to access, and both really good, along with Wisdom of Beginning, enabling both of them. Because T-Volt was essentially you Soul Blast 1 to look at top 5, call something that has equal lower grade to your Vanguard, or add an order to your hand instead, and then you shuffle your deck. And then when it attacks, if you attack a grade 3 or greater unit, if you have 4 or more other units, it gets another 10k power till the end of that battle. So it also hit pretty big as well. So yeah, we know what the Keter pile is. It's really strong. But the implementations of this in the nation right now is kind of awkward, because it makes it so that any deck that is Keter and can fit this engine in easily wants to play it. And quite a few decks want to play it, not gonna lie. Now that can be seen as a good and a bad thing, because obviously these cards are really strong together, and they'll definitely improve the deck overall. Like Tearfall in itself was a way for you to dig through the deck for, you know, other pieces that you wanted to call to the rear, like Saragon, for example, or maybe some of your in-engine stuff that work with the ride line. So yeah, and then you got a plus from Wisdom of Beginning. Saragon's digging you through your deck to hopefully see more pieces and refilling your hand as well. And you got a pretty good beat stick in the matter of a 13k booster with Saragon and a 20k attacker with the Tearfall. Very strong stuff. But it's still kind of annoying though, isn't it? Because first of all, and the main thing we have to point out here, the cards are stupidly expensive. And this is by no means the player's fault. This is Bushiroad's incompetence with reprinting. And it's as simple as that. You cannot make generic card like this and expect them not to go up in value, especially with how far they've gone. And if Vanguard can't do one thing, it's reprint cards efficiently enough. And it's just, something that's always been the way it is. They've sometimes had good reprints in the past here and there, but it's very few and far between, let's be honest. And they need to improve this. And one of the other hindrances with these cards as well is the design. It's so good, so generic, and so accessible for most decks. You're kind of incentivized to play them and everything. And again, although these cards are very good and they will make the deck better, it's also kind of boring. Is it not? I can't be the only one in this. Now, I own the Keter pile. I've used it plenty of times in Ezel, Reziel, a lot, because Reziel definitely wanted to play it. But even when I've looked into other Keter decks, it keeps coming back to me. And I'm like, man, I wish I didn't have to play these cards over and over again. Now, some variation of them can be acceptable, right? Because Tearfall is definitely something I'd probably play in Ezel, hands down. I mean, I was beforehand, before we knew what Saragon was. And, even without Wisdom of the Beginning, I was playing it alongside the Ezel order. So that worked fine. But Saragon is also just very generic and splashable in most decks, to the point where you can put that in anything on its own and it'll work. But it's when the deck feels like it needs to play all three of them, that's when it gets a little bit annoying for me. And it's like, man, I wish I didn't have to play all these cards again, but you kind of have to sometimes. In order to make your deck the best it can be, right? To improve it, to give it the most chance to get a win, you've got to play them. Now, it makes me wonder, would this be as annoying if people had ease of access to them? Maybe less so. But I do think the fact that these cards are so inaccessible and so hard to obtain that it becomes frustrating for people looking for decks to play in Keter Sanctuary, and they keep seeing these cards over and over again. I can definitely get that. But yeah, all I can hope is that Bushiroad will, maybe at some point get their act together and maybe notice that, hey, if we are going to keep Overdress and just the D series as a whole as the main game, we need to adopt a better reprint policy. We need cards like this to be more accessible and just make the cards easier to get the players' hands. Because yes, I understand things like this make sets more incentivized for the shops and sellers to get a profit. But if players aren't playing the game, they're going to have no one to sell the cards to. And that's going to be the main downfall. So, yeah. I think I've said all I need to say with these cards. If you guys have any other opinions about them in the comments, do drop it. One thing I do want to end on though, we need to stop this mindset of rolling our eyes and just sighing when we see people profiling decks with these cards. You cannot blame them for playing a powerful engine like this, because it's so good, it will make the deck better. But also I can understand people's frustrations with seeing them over and over again. So yeah, But anyway, on that note, I think I've spoken long enough about these. But yeah, tell me your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. This is Guardian, signing out.